My name is Shelly. My kids attend Alfred Allen Central School in Allegheny County, so I appreciate the representation that's here, and I've had to travel to do such. So I also appreciate Mr. O'Mara for requesting a closer visit from Mr. King. Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to hear our testimonies. My testimony may be slightly different from some of those that we've heard recently. I was not aware of any changes in Alfred Allen School District or any other school until this year. This is the very first year that Alfred Allen has participated in Common Core. The second week of September, my 6-year-old came home from first grade and told me she had failed the test. I laughed and said, "You're 6. Do you even know what that word means?" She put her head down and said, "Yes, Mommy. It means I did really, really bad on a test. I'm sorry I didn't know how to do it." It was in that moment that I became extremely concerned. You see, we don't use the word failed in our house. In our house with 2 extremely successful adults, we would not have been successful if we believed in failure, but rather in taking risks and doing the best job that we could every single day. Since then, I've researched all that encompasses Common Core every day since that Saturday afternoon. I feel that my testimony will be most useful if I share with you my story. Straight out of high school, I became a saleswoman for over 13 years. I have a bachelor's degree in multimedia design and a master's degree in business administration. I have managed all aspects of one of the largest Verizon wireless stores in New York State, and I started a woman-owned minority construction business in Alvin, New York, and Allegheny County. Not knowing how to physically do any of the work myself, but rather knowing how a business should and must be run to be successful, this year we are celebrating its 5th year in business. I am a 2001 Harcourt Central School graduate, pre-Common Core. I was college and career ready without the Common Core standards or the modules. And just to be clear, I was not the only college and career ready individual in my class. Each and every student that I graduated with went on to college or a career. Members of my class include doctors, lawyers, business owners, members of the armed forces, and even one United States Marshal. Yet I hear over and over again how children graduating are not college and career ready, and it makes me almost physically ill that our Commissioner of Education has little to say besides that as the reason for turning our schools and teachers and children upside down. I stand before you tonight having all of those accomplishments that I worked diligently for, with a baby on my hip, helping to teach a 6-year-old how to read and a 4-year-old how to write her name. As a female in this unforgiving corporate thought world, I would not have gotten where I am without a solid foundation in education, teachers that loved me, and yes, I use the word love, and inspired me to be the absolute best I could be, instilling in me a love of learning. But where is that inspiration and love of learning this year? Common Core does not appear to allow for personality, creativity, or individualism. I have regularly attended Board of Education meetings in my children's school district of Alfred Allen, as well as my alma mater, Harcourt Central, and neighboring Cornell City School. I have repeatedly asked over and over for those districts to ignore the modules, cancel the tests, and give back the Race to the Top funds. Not a single one of those schools will, not because they necessarily think Common Core is right for my children or anyone else's, but because they would lose, quote, all their jobs, the state would pull back millions of dollars worth of funding, and the school would be shut down, end quote. When I asked for proof of that such action would take place, no one can provide it. However, they continue to respond the same way, meeting after meeting after meeting. I wonder to myself if this isn't bullying on the largest scale of my lifetime at our children's expense nonetheless. So I leave you tonight with one statement that I wrote recently in a moment of passion. Regarding Common Core, I'm not upset about not understanding what my kids are bringing home. I'm upset that only 2 educators involved in the creation of these standards rejected them in the validation committee. I'm upset that it was privately funded through lobbyist groups in D.C. I'm upset that this was not voted on in New York State. I'm upset that the rating requirements include pornography, molestation, pedophilia, and the degrading of the U.S. military. I'm upset that the United States children are learning Singapore math with no evidence of its success. I'm upset that over 400 points of data is being collected on my minor children and my family and fed to the state as they see fit. I'm upset that most public school teachers have a gag order on them not being able to speak up without fear of losing their jobs. I'm upset that 70% of kids failed Common Core testing last year. I'm upset that those failures hurt teachers in their evaluations. And I'm upset that our school districts are not going to be able to afford this new curriculum, and neither will the taxpayers in our district. I've done my research, and I want Common Core standards, modules, and data mining all to stop. Thank you for your time.
Lisa Christian.